Hey guys, it's Dan, and we are back with the VBA Season 1. Our Week 1 matchup is against Leaf and the Latchkey Kids. So let's go ahead and get right into it. If you look at the 6 that Leaf brought, they are a pretty interesting group. He's got the Driftblim, which I assume is going to be a Psychic Seed Unburden set with my own Indeedee. He definitely has a Sand mode. He's got what looks to be some kind of Trick Room potential with Oranguru. And then Gothitelle and Phalanx. Phalanx actually does very well into a lot of what I brought, except for the Indeedee. But I think Berserker looks like it does very well, especially if he ends up setting his own Trick Room. So I'm going to go with my lead that I thought was going to be most likely, which is Liepard Arctivish, which just gives me a lot of flexibility to fight various leads. Also, of note, no Perish Trap this week. I was ready for it in case it came. But looking at the battle, I think I've got the team matchup advantage going into it on paper. And if we look at the Sand versus Hail mode, I think the tools that I have supporting it work really well to neuter his potential Sand mode, whereas his tools don't neuter the Hail nearly as much. So with the lead, Tyranitar and Oranguru, I think he's going to be going for his own Trick Room here. I first think I might go for the Vicious Wren into the T-Tar, but then I remember Oranguru gets Inner Focus, so faking out the Oranguru isn't going to do anything. Charming T-Tar could be the right play, but I decide to click Vicious Wren to go into the Oranguru, and then I'm able to fake out the T-Tar to make sure the Vicious Wren goes off. T-Tar is naturally faster than Arctivish, but I did speed creep it enough that if he hasn't put any speed investment in the T-Tar, even in Sand, I will outspeed it with the Arctivish. Which I thought was going to be an interesting calc for me, but it turns out he just switches into Gothitelle right away. And so my fake out will just get a little bit of chip on, and then I'll get a Vicious Wren off, and I'll see that this Oranguru is very, very bulky to live that as well as it did. And Trick Room comes out. So against a lot of my team that would be bad, but I did bring the Berserker this match, which is going to be very nice for me. So here the play seems pretty clear to me, is that I'm going to Vicious Wren to the Oranguru again to try and get some damage off there, and then I'm just going to U-turn into the Berserker to get it in clean after this turn, because either Liepard will die, or my U-turn will go last because I'm the fastest thing on the field. Protecting Gothitelle just seems like a weird play this turn, so I don't think he will do it. So, this think starts a bit of a trend. I'm feeling locked in this match, and I am going to be operating very quickly with a lot of my plays, and Leaf goes in the tank a lot, which I don't begrudge him, because usually it's the opposite way when I'm playing, where I'm thinking a lot. But the Oranguru is going to protect, so it's not going to take a Vicious Wren, which is going to be underspeeding the Gothitelle. Gothitelle Calm Minds, which... that's an interesting set. If I was running a more specially based team, that would be very scary, but everything I have that I brought is a physical attacker, so getting some nice chip with the U-turn Liepard, and then I get to put in the Assault Vest Berserker, which looks really good here. It's going to be the slowest thing on the field, basically, unless he's got Iron Ball or Room Service something or other, and it's got access to Crunch, it's got access to Close Combat. This thing is an absolute menace into his team. The Sand taking Gothitelle in the berry range is a little annoying. I think even with Tough Claws, that will take him just outside of Crunch range, but I do think a Vicious Wren and Crunch plus Sand damage has a chance to be a double KO, and even if it's not, the Gothitelle will die to Sand eventually. Because it will be very, very close. So this play makes a lot of sense for me, in that it's relatively little risk. I still don't know the Orangaru's speed tier because it's only Trick Roomed and protected, so there's a chance that I outspeeded in Trick Room still with this Arctivish, which would just let this Vicious Run definitely kill. But this Crunch is going to do a number on this Gothitelle. And it's going to lower its defense, which is completely and totally irrelevant when it has that much HP left. He went hard into thinking I was bringing my own Psychic Terrain with a Expanding Force, Orangaroo, instead of Psychic. But he will launch this Psychic, which will pick up the KO on the Arctivish. So I don't have that as a late game win con against his Dracovish anymore. But because I'm still going to be operating in Trick Room, it doesn't really matter because the Dracovish is going to be faster than the Liepard, so I will get my charms off if I want it. And it won't be doubled Vicious Rend until after Trick Room ends. So Liepard is functionally better in Trick Room than Dracovish in the sand, and it is designed as an anti-Dracovish mon, just to make sure that this thing doesn't go in on me. Fake Out seems clean. I get to click Close Combat into T-Tar. And basically he's got to protect T-Tar this turn or I'll just win. I don't know exactly what I was overthinking there, the Close Combat. I guess I could click Iron Head if I didn't want the defense drops, but the Close Combat just seems obviously right. He does protect the T-Tar and the Dracovish, so stalls a turn of Trick Room here. But unfortunately for him, his Trick Room and his Sand are going to expire on the same turn, so Liepard will always be faster than Dracovish, which is really unfortunate for him because I can just keep clicking Charm. And I'll Close Combat the T-Tar again because eventually Protect is going to fail. And there's nothing he can do to stop it unless... I guess he could Protect all the way out of Trick Room, which might just be this turn. And that's probably the correct play to try and get a double here to stall the end of Trick Room. But I mean, it doesn't feel great. And he just goes down to a Tough Claws Close Combat from Berserker. And now, even though I don't have my Freeze Dry, I do just have the 3v1 against the Dracovish, and I can just start hitting it, chipping it down with everything, and now the Sandstorm is over, and Trick Room is over, so Liepard is now faster than Dracovish again. So I can just keep charming this Dracovish and hitting it with Berserker, and then eventually bring in a Bomb Snow to finish it up after I've chipped it down. I think about a Close Combat, but I don't think it picks up the KO, so I think 2 Crunches should just about do it. We'll take this Dracovish all the way down to -6, and see, even that -4, like Dracovish's Vicious Rend is going to do a lot with Life Orb when it goes first, but I'm just gonna finish this up with a Charm, and I think I click Crunch again. Close Combat actually probably would be better to guarantee the KO there, but it is what it is. I will live this Vicious Rend now that he's at -6 unless he crits. But I think there's a good chance Crunch picks up the KO here, even at that range, and it does. So I will be taking the first game 3-0, and I will be right back for game number 2. So in game 2, I want to basically show and lead the same thing and force him to show me how he beats me. Because even outside of Trick Room, this Berserker set is really good into a lot of what he has. I need the Hail to counter his Hail. And then if I'm looking in single slots, Liepard's utility into his team is going to be better than Nidoking's offense or Indeedee's utility that it provides. So I'm basically pretty comfortable locking into the same thing and forcing him to show me how he beats me. The Phalanx does make me a little nervous, especially if he can get it buffed, because it will hit, because I will be bringing 4 fighting weaknesses. There's really no way around it. I'm very fighting weak in the sets that I'm bringing, but we'll see if the Phalanx is going to be able to punish me for it, or if I will just have the advantage over the Phalanx, because I think it definitely needs to come. I also don't want to accidentally give him Tailwind with Drifblim and Unburden. I would much rather the Drifblim feel like it has to struggle to get in safely for Tailwind than me just giving it the free Unburden Tailwind. So Indeedee stays on the bench, and then Nidoking actually looks decent, but he did bring double Psychic type, which makes me a little nervous because they're both especially bulky as well. But getting into the game, also, Leaf has like a well above average card right there, so he gets points for that one. But we do see the Phalanx Oranguru lead. So I don't care if he sets Trick Room, because I've got that Berserker set, and this Arctovish is going to function in Trick Room well. I just don't want this Phalanx to go in, so I don't think he'll protect a turn 1, so I think a Fake Out and Vicious Rend is a pretty clean choice here. Because I don't have a way to deny the Trick Room with this lead, because he'll survive a double up, I believe. And honestly, I want him to set Trick Room, because if I can get the Berserker in under Trick Room, it just kills everything on his team. So this Phalanx being the most threatening thing is going to be the primary target going in. So it flinches. I see it's pretty fast, but everything else is relatively slow, so that makes sense. He'll get an Expanding Force into Arctovish, which even with a minus special defense nature isn't going to be a 2-shot, so I'm okay with that. I just had to double check that I had Slush Rush on it, because sometimes I'm an idiot when I gen. And then this is I'm dealing with the Phalanx. I'll just attack into it. Nothing will want to take this. And unless he switches into Dracovish right here, something's going to die right there. And if he switches into Dracovish, then we're into Mind Game mode. But that's his one out is switching into Dracovish here. Otherwise the Phalanx is going to go down, and then if we get into a Weather War, I will have 4 versus 3, and it'll be basically a war of chip attrition until one of us goes down to 2 Pokemon, but it's much more likely to be him. And I do get rid of the Phalanx right away. That crit did not matter. So I'll eat an Expanding Force into the Arctovish, and now we're in the war of attrition, because I almost guarantee he has Sand in the back. And what I need is to isolate it so T-Tar can't switch in and out, while keeping these two both alive, or at least the Arctovish alive, and the Abomasnow can switch in and die after the T-Tar can't switch out. So a double switch here makes sense, because neither of these two want to deal with this in the sand. There's a chance that I'm faster than the Tyranitar with both of them, but it's not a guarantee. If I knew it was a guarantee, I'd just double up into the T-Tar and win the match on the spot. But I feel like I've got enough of an advantage this game that I can slow play this with the safest possible win con instead of going for broke with the fast win con. So now it's time for me to play very, very controlled and not let him get Dracovish in cleanly under the sand without Liepard on the field. Because if Liepard's on the field, I can always switch in Abomasnow, turn off the sand, and then Charm or T-Wave the Dracovish. Berserker eats that all day, and Expanding Force goes into a Dark type, just like I drew it up. Alright, so now it's just chipping everything down. don't know if Charm or Fake Out into the T-Tar is better here, but Crunch into the Oranguru seems right, because if he switches into Dracovish, that'll still be a decent chunk. He could also just double protect here, because I did just switch in double Fake Out. Speaking of which, Berserker and Liepard together, this is very, very oppressive, both into his team and generally. Like, in battle, this felt incredibly strong, this combo of two Pokemon, both because of double Fake Out pressure, the speed control options, and then just how hard this Berserker can hit. So Oranguru does protect, and I do get a Charm off on Dracovish under the sand, which is very nice. So this next turn I'm going to have some choices. Even Charmed, if it's going first at -2, it's going to hurt this Berserker based on the calcs that we dealt with last game, and I'd rather preserve Berserker's health here. But if I switch in Abomasnow, then I will Charm the Dracovish, take it down to -4, and feel decent about that. Because if it's using Fish's Rend into the Abomasnow, that's not going to be great for it. So at this point, I am feeling very, very comfortable in the battle, because I don't really think there's a way for me to mess up unless I accidentally switch in Arctivish into a Rock Slide, which he does try to call me out with a few times during this set. But I know I'm keeping Arctivish in the back until late game, when something goes down and I'm able to lock in an advantageous position. So Dracovish is bad now. He uses Rock Slide. Liepard avoids it, which at -4 isn't a huge deal. Hits the Abomasnow decently hard. Takes some Life Orb damage. I guess it imprisoned Protect, which was not at all what I was expecting. That was another turn where, if I played aggressively, I could have ended the match very, very early, but didn't really feel the need to. So here, I'm trying to decide where Tyranitar is more likely to switch in. I'm going to Brick Break it. I kind of think he wants to put it in the Dracovish slot and see if a Fish's Rend, even at -4, will kill the Liepard. Or put it in the Oranguru spot, so that's why I'm going to Brick Break into that slot. Yeah, so I call that one wrong. The T-Tar comes in the other slot. And I know this Brick Break won't pick up the KO if it's a set that I'm expecting out of him, because Abomasnow offensive calcs are so bad. But the Thunder Wave is useful. Now everything I have should be faster than it. And I will get the Brick Break on the Oranguru for a decent chip. Expanding Force will come back and chip me. And even though I'm faster than the T-Tar now, I'm pretty sure he just protects and Expanding Forces the Abomasnow again, and I can't protect it. Which means that I'd rather pull a switch here and reposition the Abomasnow. So I'm going to U-turn the Oranguru slot, and I'm going to just get in Berserker here to eat whatever attack would be coming into Abomasnow. I will chip the Oranguru down, Berserker will come in pretty cleanly, and then I will be able to either close combat the T-Tar slot, which he doesn't want to switch into Dracovish to eat a close combat, and Oranguru can't really touch Berserker, or I could crunch the Oranguru slot. Like, Berserker's going to have a lot of offensive options as long as Dracovish isn't out. So this feels really solid for me. The T-Tar does go back, and the Dracovish comes out. So I'm able to U-turn out, and I will set up the Hail, but he will be able to set up the Sand if he wants it. And in fact, I do believe he will want it, so I'm going to put in the Abomasnow. And this next turn, I believe, is where I actually do decide to make a read. The Abomasnow will come out, and the read I decide to make this turn is that he will switch the Tyranitar in for the Oranguru, because he sees it's not going to be doing a lot. And if he does that, the Dracovish, even with Vicious Rend, I don't think will be KOing the Abomasnow. So if I can launch a Brick Break into that slot, even if it won't kill, it will put it in very, very chippable range for me. Oh, and I can just fake out the Dracovish. So Brick Break will kill the Oranguru, and I believe it will kill T-Tar, or it won't kill the T-Tar on the switch-in, but we'll put it low enough that I'm able to just start playing into that slot, because eventually something in that slot's going to die, and then I can deal with the Dracovish late game with a Freeze Dry. Sandstream comes up. Fake Out will stop the Dracovish and do a chunk. Berserker hits so hard. Abomasnow does not, but T-Tar is in chip range. Now I want to keep the Abomasnow alive. I'm okay with sacking the Liepard in this situation. And then I can Iron Head the T-Tar slot. Because even if the Berserker goes down here, then I will be able to set up the Hail and still have a switch-in. Because there's no way that there's a double takeout here unless this Tyranitar has something to hit the Liepard super effectively. And he's just going to protect, which is fine by me. A Vicious Rend into the Berserker would have given him his best shot to go into Mind Games again, but he tried calling an Arctivish switch-in. Which I definitely respect the call for the Arctivish switch-in, because that is his best shot to win the game, is to catch out my Arctivish and let Dracovish take over. But now everything is so low that Fake Out, Iron Head, and he needs to get a double T-Tar, a double Protect on a paralyzed T-Tar. Yeah, it just feels like it's in my favor at that point. Because a switch is very bad for him, because then T-Tar gets locked on the field and I get complete weather control. So the game is pretty clearly drawing to a close here unless he gets a double protect. And I will mention this now based on... no, I'll wait until it gets closer to the time in-game. But I'm locking in everything pretty quickly because it seems like I've got a pretty straightforward plan here. He doesn't go for the double protect, so I will win this game. I'll get my Iron Head off very cleanly. Then this next turn I can U-turn the Oranguru and switch in the Abomasnow to set the weather. Or I can charm the Dracovish and switch in the Abomasnow to set the weather. Either way works. Charm Dracovish actually does give me a better shot to preserve some differential, which is not a huge tiebreaker in this league, but it's enough of one that if I have the shot in what I feel like is a pretty cleanly wrapped up game, I will do it. So as I'm wrapping up this game, I will just note that, as we'll see at the end, I don't actually KO all of his Pokemon. He will lose to his own timer in a situation where he is in a 1v4 situation with a -2 Dracovish aiming at my team when I've got the Arctivish with Freeze Dry on the field under Hail. So it's he just try the call out play again, which is his best way. But at this point, I'm just going to U-turn the Liepard out, safely into the Oranguru, and then that will put my Arctivish in nice and clean, and take out the Oranguru. I'm going to try and Seed Bomb the Dracovish here. And I don't know if he's stalling his own timer to preserve differential, which would be that would be an interesting play. If you know you're going to lose, that's one way to do it. He's locking in fast enough that I don't think that's the case, but it would be pretty funny. But here's the last turn of the game that will go out. I didn't realize his timer in game, obviously, so I'm just trying to position this Arctivish to pick up this last KO and preserve a 4-0 for me this game. But Seed Bomb will go into Protect. I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to lock in Freeze Dry here, and that'll be GG. But I see that he's lost in timer. But it was a fun set. Good games to 5th, and I can't wait to be back next week for my next VBA match. See ya.